So I talk a lot about evolution and evolutionary psychology, and I explain a lot of human behavior through evolutionary psychology, and given evolutionary reason behind most human behaviors. But how how true is this evolutionary concept, this concept of evolution? How true is it? So I have been watching a few videos and reading a few articles, and I found that there are a lot of loopholes, and there are a lot of questions over this Darwinian evolution, this theory of Darwinian evolution. And Darwinian evolution says that evolution is mainly because of random genetic mutations. And if we and Darwinian evolution mainly says that if we turn back the clock, or turn back the clock and restart evolution from the beginning, then there is no guarantee that it will turn out to be the same. Which means that it is not guaranteed that the same organisms will be evolved. It may be a totally different one. It's like throwing a dice. If you throw a dice, uh, suppose on the first attempt you get a 4, and on the second attempt there is no guarantee that there will be 4 there. It may be 1, 2, 3, anything. The chances of getting 4 is 1 by 6th. But in terms of evolution, there have been, I do not know, maybe billions or trillions of species formed throughout the entire history of the earth. Now if you turn back the clock and again restart from the beginning, the chances that it will turn out to be the same way is very rare, as per the Darwinian theory. But new research on chemistry and physics says that there are a lot of fine-tuning. Not that there is some intelligent being out there, or there is a god who is fine-tuning those things, but it is nature, it is the laws of physics and the laws of the universe that are fine-tuning and giving rise to the characteristics that they have, that all organisms have today. So evolution is not just about random genetic mutations and uh, the environment. It is also about the basic physical and chemical processes that are uh, that are playing a role in the way organisms are evolving. Like, and there is a term, I forgot the term, maybe it's convergent evolution, that's the term, I think so, which says that there are some characteristics that have evolved independently. Means there was a common, and suppose there is a common ancestor A, and there are two descendants from A, B and C. Wait, I cannot explain it here like that, but suppose there is a organism A which does not have eye. Suppose does not have the eye, then its two offsprings B and C definitely doesn't have the eye. Then the offspring of B will create another offspring, and somehow that offspring will uh, through evolution, through physical through its effects from the environment, it evolves eye. And similarly, the offsprings of C also evolves eye through the pressures of the environment. So you can see that B and the offsprings of B and offsprings of C have evolved eye independently, they did not have any common ancestors in between from which they have inherited the eye, but they have uh, if evolved the eye independently. And those are not the eye is not the only example. You can talk about wings. Insects and birds, they both have wings, but both of them have they have evolved, so not evolved independently. It is not that there is a common ancestors. There is a common ancestor between insects and birds that had wings, and they had in both birds and insects have inherited wings from that common ancestors. It was not like that. Birds evolved wings independently from insects. They both, insects and birds, both got their wings after independently. So there are philosophical implications behind these findings as well. There are a lot of philosophical implications. So if we see that if eyes evolved in response to light, if eyes have evolved in response to light, and wings have evolved in response to wind patterns in the environment, and you can see that it has evolved, as I have already told that eyes and wings, they have evolved independently. That means the laws of physics, the physical nature of the environment of the universe has forced it to develop wings and eyes. So it was not just random. It was not just a random trait that has developed. So if we turn back the clock and start evolution from the beginning, then there are very high chances that eyes and wings will develop again if the environment is the same. Through the environmental pressures, they will eyes and wings will develop again. Now the same thing comes for brain and intelligence. If eye was developed in response to light and wings in response to wind patterns, so brain definitely evolved in response to something in the environment, something in the nature. Eye has evolved because there was light in the environment, and through evolution, it was it seemed much more it made much more sense that if the organism had some kind of organ that could detect light, and by detecting that light, it could perceive its environment much better, which will help in its survival and also for hunting down food and everything. So it made sense that there is something in the nature which is light, and the eye, that organ, evolved to use that thing in the environment to increase its chances of survival. So you can say same about the brain and intelligence, that there is something out in the universe or the environment, and this organ evolved the brain evolved to use that thing which is in the environment to increase our chances of survival. So what might that thing be? In case of eye, it is light. In case of wings, it is wind. But in case of the development of brain, what is that thing in the environment? So I think so from this we can say, or what I think is that there are some things like mathematical truths, like mathematics or patterns in the universe, pattern in the nature, or logical things that already existed in the universe, and the brain evolved as an organ to uh, perceive those things, to be able to make sense of those things. In the same way as eyes evolve in so as to make sense of light, so brain evolved so as to make sense of these mathematical patterns, or the logical things, the logical concepts that already existed in the universe. But in case of wings and eye, we have wind and light. Those are material things that you can see or feel, but you cannot see or feel uh, logic. You cannot see or feel mathematical patterns. Maybe mathematical patterns you can see, but those are abstract concepts, and the brain evolved to maybe comprehend those things. And from this thing we can also conclude that there's a very important question in philosophy, that is mathematics created by our mind, or it already existed. There are a lot of questions that mathematics is created by the mind, it is a construct of the mind, and some people said that it already existed. But from this explanation you can see that these mathematical patterns already existed in the nature. The brain evolved to be able to comprehend those patterns, which is what I think, and which may be true. So if these laws of physics was what to say was had a very if the laws of physics had a important role in the creation of life, it means that life was inevitable, means it had to be. Since that moment the universe began, we were destined to be created. So from Darwinian evolution says that life is just a chance, but it happened but through accident. It happened by accident. But from this kind of thing, from this new research, we can say that life was meant to be 13.8 billion years ago. From the moment the universe started, the process began, and here we are now. So the fact that you are here, the process started 13.8 billion years ago, and today you are here. So you're not here by chance. You're not here by mistake. You're not in this universe by mistake or by chance. You are here. You're in this universe because you are meant to be in this universe, because it was your destiny to be in this universe. And now, since we have this brain, and we have to figure things out about why, and we have to figure and make use of it. 13.8 billion years. After 13.8 billion years, you get to be conscious for maybe, if you're lucky enough, 78 years. So make use of it. I'm trying myself to make use of it, and that's what I'm trying to do. And there's also one more implication. If the laws of physics are somehow fine-tuning life, that means if there exists any alien life in this universe, then they will also then the laws of physics will also somehow influence their evolution, their creation. And if they influence, then those aliens will not look much different from us. They will have a similar architecture, physical architecture, and probably mental architecture as well. Because as we saw that eyes and wings, they have evolved separately. independently, and in some cases intelligence has also evolved independently. There are the apes, but there are also dolphins. They are very intelligent, but their intelligence and the intelligence of apes, they have evolved differently. So so that's it. There's a lot to think about it. So that's it for this video. I have okay.